everyone and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Malin, and today I want to show you how to make a Swedish celebratory food which is called Smörgåstårta, and in English this translates to sandwich cake. And I think this might sound a little bit strange to a lot of you, but it's basically a savory cake and we eat it a lot at birthdays or celebrations, and I really love it. And I don't think I've had it I haven't had it once basically since going vegan, so I'm excited to make it and share it with you. And I'm doing this today because this weekend is Midsummer, which is a festivity that we celebrate here in Sweden for the summer solstice, and usually you would eat pickled herring and boiled potatoes and sour cream and chives and dill basically for the midsummer meal. And there are lots of recipes for vegan pickled herring, often made with aubergine or with mushrooms. And I thought, what's something different that I can make that I also actually like, because I'm not a big fan of these herring lookalikes, I guess. I never liked herring in the first place, so it's not really my favorite thing. And then I thought I can show you how to make a sandwich cake. It's something I think everyone can enjoy. I think it's really yummy and I hope you will too. And basically for the cake you layer sandwich bread, and usually it's made with white bread that you cut the crust off. And here in Sweden you can actually buy this kind of bread in longer pieces as well, so it makes it easier to make the cake. As many of you know, I'm intolerant to gluten, so I'm using a different kind of bread which is more brown, but the most important part about the bread is that it's more or less quite soft, and that you cut the crusts off, and then you can build the cake going from there. Usually this kind of cake is an amalgamation of lots of different foods, often animal-based like cheese, cold cuts, seafood, and obviously I'm not going to be using animal products. I'm going to be using alternatives to this. And for the cake I'm going to make two fillings. One is scallion, which I've made for the channel before, so I'll link this down below. I'm not going to show you how to make this filling in this video, but of course you can find it in the link. But to give you an idea, scallion is a traditional seafood mayo salad type thing. And of course, again, I'm not using any seafood. This is a vegan channel, so I'm basing it off tofu, and it has a vegan alternative to caviar in it that's made from seaweed, which sounds strange, but it's delicious. And then it has dill in it, and yeah, it's just really yummy. The other filling I'm gonna make is with smoked tofu to emulate a little bit like smoked ham, and I'm gonna use avocado in this mixture as well. And then you layer that up with the cake. You make a creamy topping, I guess, to encapsulate the cake, and then we decorate it. And here's the fun part. And like I said, usually you use a lot of animal products for this, but I'm going to use some vegetables, which traditionally you do as well. And I'm also going to use some vegan caviar, but really you could use anything you like here. You can use vegan cold cuts or vegan cheese. So if you can't find the caviar, don't be discouraged. You can make up the combinations yourself for the decoration. As this is a celebratory food, it's definitely a little bit decadent and rich, and that's how it should be. I've tried to make it more or less quite traditional, so I'm hoping that it will emulate the experience of my childhood. And yeah, I hope you will like it. Let's make it. To start, I'm going to make the smoked tofu and avocado filling. So I cut open a couple of avocados and then slice them into smaller pieces in the skin and then squeeze them into the bowl. To this I'm adding some vegan creme fraiche. I think you could also use vegan sour cream if you couldn't find creme fraiche. And then I mashed this together to a more or less smooth consistency. Then I set that aside while I chop up my smoked tofu. So I start by slicing the tofu into thin slices, and then I just chop it into small cubes. the mixture, I'm also going to add some scallion or spring onions, so I just chop them up finely as well. The last thing I'm chopping up for this filling is some fresh parsley, so I just cut off the stems and chop it finely as well. All my tofu, scallion and parsley to my bowl, and then I'm ready to season this. So I'm starting with some lemon zest. I'm also going to be squeezing in some lemon juice later on. This adds a nice freshness and a zing. And then I season with salt and pepper, and then I'm ready to mix it all up. I'm setting the filling aside as I prepare my bread, and I'm using this gluten-free sandwich bread, and I'm cutting all the crusts off. This allows for even edges that will make a good base for the cake. The cake I'm making makes 3 servings, but if you wanted to make more servings out of this cake, you could always multiply what I'm using. I'm using 3 slices of bread for each layer, so I'm cutting 12 pieces of bread. And this means I'll be able to have 3 layers of filling and 4 layers of bread. With the crusts, I freeze them and use them later on for croutons or breadcrumbs. As you see here, I've started to layer the bread, and underneath I've put a little bit of vegan cream cheese so that it doesn't slip around when I'm putting on the filling. And first out is the smoked tofu and avocado filling, and I'm making sure I get the filling all the way to the edges, and the layer is about 1 centimeter thick. Then I add some new slices of bread, and I'm going to use the other filling now that I showed you in the intro, the scallion, and I do the same thing here, just making sure it's all the way to the edges and evenly thick. Being precise with the layering will allow the cake to have a uniform appearance at the end. It won't be leaning or anything like that. So it's worth putting some extra time into making sure that it's even while you're making the layers. Finally, we're ready for the last filling, and I'm going to use the smoked tofu and avocado again. Of course, you could keep going higher with the layers, but when you're making such a slim cake like I'm doing here, it would be very tall. But if you wanted to make a cake that serves more people, you could add bread to the side of the cake, making it a square cake, and then you could make it taller and it would look perfect with a little extra layer. Now I'm preparing a savory frosting, we could call it. So I'm combining vegan cream cheese with vegan creme fraiche and vegan mayo. Then I'm whipping it up till it's smooth. And this is like a frosting, but it's a little bit softer. And it's good if you can maybe leave it in the fridge for 15 minutes or half an hour before you smear it over the cake. It still works fine to spread it over the cake straight away as well. You just want to make sure that you're spreading a thin, even layer all around the cake, the sides and the top, and that none of the filling or the bread is showing through. It doesn't have to be perfect as you'll be decorating on top of this, so don't worry if it's not picture perfect. Prepared these vegetables to top my cake with, and I have cucumber, radish and finely chopped red onion. And really, when you're decorating the cake, go crazy, do what you like. I really like cucumber with this cake because it's quite rich and the cucumber cuts through that and adds a nice crunch and freshness. I'm also going to be decorating the cake with fresh dill, and this is really a flavor of Swedish summer. So if you're going to use one herb in this cake, I would recommend dill. And I'm going to cover the sides with this, but again, please use whatever you like, go wild, have fun. To bring a proper summer look to the cake, I'm using some edible flowers. These are pansies and you can grow them in your own garden. And I'm just placing them around the cake where I see that they fit. Now that I've decorated all the sides of my cake, I'm going to decorate the top. And for this I'm creating some swirls using cucumber ribbons. I just shave ribbons off the cucumber with a vegetable peeler, then I cut them in half lengthways and roll them up like this to create little swirls. Then I place them where I like them to sit on the top of the cake. And yeah, again, you can make any kind of decoration you like and that you think will taste nice. My next component is this finely chopped red onion. I really like that little bit of spicy flavor of raw red onion with this cake, so I just sprinkle it all over the top. And then I'm going to add some vegan caviar made from seaweed. And I buy this in the supermarket here in Sweden, but if you don't find it in the supermarket, I've seen it at IKEA in England, and I'm sure other IKEAs around the world have it too. This is not an ad for IKEA, it's just a tip in case you want to try it. Then I'm also topping it with some chopped up radish. I cut these wedges out and I think it looks so pretty. And here is my finished sandwich cake. I did add a little bit of lemon zest all over the cake because I like that zing of citrus on there, and it also added a nice pop of yellow that I thought went really lovely with all the colors that are already on the cake. Yeah, here I'm cutting it up and I'm ready to devour it. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial of how to make this Swedish celebratory food that is sandwich cake or smörgåstårta. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care. Bye!